I'm going to rank every single arc from the Clone Wars TV show, and I mean every single one. The Lair of Grievous, the Citadel, the Siege of Mandalore, and so many more. And we're starting off with an absolute slam dunk of a Clone Wars arc, and that is Ahsoka framed. Now, this is the one where Ahsoka is framed by Barriss Offee for bombing the Jedi Temple, is on the run for 3 or 4 episodes from the Jedi Order and Anakin Skywalker, her master, and last minute is about to be tried and found guilty until Anakin finds evidence and proves that Ahsoka is innocent and Barriss Offee is guilty. I am not joking when I say that this arc is one of the greatest in the entire TV show and one of the greatest things that we've ever gotten out of Star Wars, period. I mean, it is simply phenomenal. I genuinely think I'm going to add another tier for this one just because this is genuinely, in my mind, some of the best Star Wars we've ever gotten ever. And I'm going to frickin' say that. The best Star Wars we've ever gotten. And I'll do like parentheses, basically. Just so I'm not like sacrilegious to the original sequel, the original trilogy, not the sequels, the original trilogy and the prequels and whatnot. But I truly believe that this is one of the greatest things that we've gotten out of any Star Wars TV show, certainly. Ahsoka Lost. This is the one where Ahsoka gets kidnapped by Trandoshans and is forced to play like a Hunger Games of sort on Trandoshan Islands. And is hunted until she finally overthrows the Trandoshans and frees her and several other Jedi who have also been captured over the years. What's important about these later arcs is they really show that the Clone Wars has moved on from a basic kid show back in season 1 and 2 to this deep, mature, like these episodes really are meaningful and they have death and real world elements involved in them. And I think that's so valuable. It's not S tier, it's not like wonderful, and it's not nowhere near as deep as Ahsoka framed and nowhere near as meaningful to the actual, story of Clone Wars, if you will, but I'm gonna throw that bad boy in A tier. I think that's very fair of me. Ambush. Now look, you gotta respect it. Ambush is the first ever Clone Wars arc ever. It's the first one we get in season 1. It involves Yoda crashing on a Rishi moon and proving to King Kakadu, whatever the frick his name is, that he is worthy of the Republic's support, not Asajj Ventress. And the way he proves this is just by like, I don't know, beating some droids and getting to him. It's kind of a bad system for a geopolitical war to determine who your ally is going to be, but it's good fun. I will say that. It's very fun. It's a good way to kick off the series, and it really did show how lighthearted the Clone Wars was back when it originally started. But it really hasn't aged that well. It's nowhere near as good as most of the later arcs. I'm going to throw this one a solid C tier. It's fun, but it's not phenomenal. I mean, this is no one's favorite, I don't think. Next up is the Bad Batch, which is an arc from season 7 of the Clone Wars, when we first get introduced to the Bad Batch as a group of people, and then later on they get their own TV show and whatnot. But this arc is fun. It's a very fun arc. I mean, I guess they find Echo in it. That's one of the big plot points. You get to meet the characters, the Bad Batch themselves, which is really fun, especially at this point in the Clone Wars, where we've never seen this modification of clone before, if you will. I'm gonna put this one. I think this one's probably B tier. I don't like it as much as Ahsoka Lost, but I like it more than Ambush. So I think B tier is fair. Onderon Rebels. Now this arc is when they go to, I can't remember what planet, but they meet Saw Gerrera and his sister Sienna Gerrera, or whatever her name is, the sister who dies that Ahsoka can't save. The best part about this arc is the 7 Samurais aspect of it, where the Jedi go and find the resistance group and they go and teach them how to defeat the droids and what strategies to use to overthrow the separatist forces. That part's really good. It is cool to see Saw Gerrera, who we know down the line will become one of the heads of the rebellion against the Empire. But other than that, I think it's a pretty solid arc. It's not phenomenal. I'm gonna throw this one in B tier too. Blue Shadow Virus. Now this is the one where Dr. Vanichi, or whatever the long-necked guy is in this arc, the villain finds basically the coronavirus and threatens to drop it on Naboo and destroy all life on Naboo. I mean, that is insane. That is just a crazy proposition to even have. That's millions and millions of people and animals and whatnot. So I'm impressed he even had the guts to want to do that. I remember playing this arc in LEGO Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars. I remember this was one of the more fun mission sets you had to play. The actual Clone Wars arc is pretty good. Again, most of the arcs from the earlier seasons, which this one is, are way less deep and more lighthearted and fun. And those have a time and place. Don't get me wrong. Those are very good in their element. I think I like this one more than Ambush, but I like it less than the Bad Batch and Onderonian Rebels. I'm gonna put it the front of C tier. I'll do that. I think that's very reasonable on my part. Boba Fett's Revenge. This is the arc where Boba Fett goes and he wants to kill Mace Windu with the help of Aurra Sing and whatever the weird lizard-looking guy is. Oh, Boss, but also the other weird lizard-looking guy. It's kind of weird he's working with 2 big, weird lizard-looking guys, but regardless. Now, I didn't enjoy this arc that much, but I can acknowledge that it still was pretty good. My favorite part of it was when Boba Fett was undercover in the Venator, and he goes and he pretends to be a clone cadet, and he impresses all of them because he's way more skilled than any of them, and then at the end of the day, he betrays them and goes to Aurra Sing and tries to come Mace Windu and fails a couple times, and then the series kind of trickles off from there. I do like when they go to Hondo's planet, what's it called? Frick, Florum. I'm a real fan, guys, I promise. Don't burn me at the stake. I know what I'm talking about, please. Honestly, I'm gonna throw this one It's not A tier, but it's B tier. I think it's a solid B tier. It's a long arc, it has multiple plot points, intricate plot points, and it introduces some cool characters that we haven't really seen in the Clone Wars as of yet. Plo Koon, Aura Singh, you know, the works. Bomb Bad Jedi. Boys, I think we might have finally gotten our first F tier. Yes! About freaking time. F tier on the list, boys. Now, this one isn't awful. The Bomb Bad Jedi is alright. But I really just don't like Jar Jar Binks. I do not think he needed to be in the Clone Wars as much as he did. I don't think a lot of people liked him in the Clone Wars that much. I mean, I didn't like him in the Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones, as little involvement as he had in the second movie. But regardless, I just don't like Jar Jar that much. Just what I'm trying to say is, boys, if you put Jar Jar in there, I'm just not going to be a happy camper. That's just how it goes. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. I'll play the game. I'm not going to be satisfied with seeing this stupid freaking Gungan wander around like he's drunk for a bunch of episodes pretending to be a Jedi. It just pisses me off. So this one's going F tier, I think. But I don't like seeing clumsy characters accidentally get really lucky and do really well. It annoys me, and I don't like Jar Jar. Bounty Hunters. Now, this is the arc where Anakin and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan go to a village on, I think it was Felucia, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm sure you die-harders in the comments more so than I am will correct me if I am wrong. I think it's Felucia. But they go to Felucia and they basically, with the help of a bunch of bounty hunters, defend the village from Hondo and his gang from ransacking it and taking all the village's profit for the last like 8 seasons or whatever. And by seasons I mean like harvest seasons, not like seasons of Clone Wars, like harvest seasons of, you know what I'm saying? It's like farmers. Now, I said earlier that Onderanian rebels I liked a lot because of the 7 samurai archetype they do, where they go and they assist this resistance group against the separatists and they teach them how to defeat them and they train them basically. And this show is more than that. They arm the village, they help the villagers prepare for the attack, and then when the attack finally comes, it's very satisfying to see the villagers, with the help of the Jedi and the bounty hunters, repel the attack. That's what I like about it. I think it's a solid B tier. I enjoy this one a lot. And it's also, we're going to see a lot of cool bounty hunters. Embo, we get to see, and I know you guys love Embo. And you want to know how I know you guys love Embo? I can prove it to you. I made a video a while ago where I found, I ranked every bounty hunter in Star Wars. I'm sure it'll come up when I do this. Yeah, top 10 best bounty hunters in Star Wars, which did all right. And guys, have you been noticing there's so many ads on YouTube lately? I mean, look, I get paid through ads, so I can't complain that much, but all these ads, I mean, gosh dang, bro. Just let me watch the freaking video. I get it. I get you need to make some money, but you don't need this money. I promise you don't need this money. I promise you. I remember in this video, I ranked all the bounty hunters in Star Wars. I think my number 10 was Greedo, 9 was Zam Wessel, and then Embo was like, yeah, Embo was number 8. I put Embo at number 8 on the list. And because just genuinely, boys, I like Embo, but there's a lot of better bounty hunters out there. Fennec Shan's better, Boba Fett's better, Cad Bane's better, Bosca's better, you name it. Usually they're better than Embo. They're just cooler, intrinsically. That is, however, my opinion, because one of the most liked comment on this video was, Embo will always be my favorite bounty hunter. I mean, how do you not like him? He literally has a dog. Oh, he literally has a dog. Well, I'm sorry, if he has a dog, then forgive me, my loyal fans. If he has a dog, then he must be the greatest of all time. I get you guys like Embo. I just think there's a lot of cooler bounty hunters than him out there. Oh, and if you're wondering who number 1 on the list was, I mean, come on, boys. You know who I am. You know what I like and what I like to see. It was freaking Cad Bane. I freaking love Cad Bane. Cad Bane is the greatest of all time. He's the GOAT. Anyway, I'll link this video, the top 10 best bounty hunters in Star Wars. I'll link it somewhere below if you want to watch it, or you can just go look it up. It's a good video. I like it. Anyway, let's get back to this tier list now that I've shown that Embo is more popular than I give him credit for, apparently. The Battle of Christophsis. Now, this arc is good. It is a little bit ruined by the fact that it relies on the Clone Wars movie too much. This is where, you know, they get Ahsoka, and then Anakin and Ahsoka have to leave to go rescue Rod of the Hutt, and they leave Obi-Wan and Christophsis. But this one does expand on it a little bit. I mean, if I remember correctly, Obi-Wan goes and commits a war crime. That's right, our man Obi-Wan Kenobi, not Anakin Skywalker, commits a war crime. Unheard of. Unbelievable. Now, the war crime was he faked his surrender to get the upper hand on his opponent, which I don't know the rules of the galaxy. U.S. law and the Geneva Conventions calls that a war crime. You can't fake a surrender. If you surrender, you got to do it for real. But Obi-Wan fakes it regardless. And then at the end of the arc, if I remember correctly, there's a clone traitor, which is really interesting. It's an interesting plot point, and it's interesting to see them work that in because they've kind of built the clones up as not built to be traitors. Like, they are impossible, like unable to be corrupted basically from their goal of serving the Republic. Obviously, we see other clones who stray away, but very rarely do we see other clones who are straight up traitors and helping the Separatists. So that's an interesting plot point. The arc itself is pretty good. Let's throw this one. I want to throw this one in C tier. I'll throw it above Ambush, but it's not as good as this. It's a little worse. I like it less than Blue Shadow Virus. I'll say that. The Citadel. Now this, in my opinion, is one of my favorite arcs in the entire Clone Wars show. I'm dead serious. I love it. Basically, Evan PL gets captured and he has crucial information that they need to get back. So Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and a bunch of other random clones, including Captain Rex, go and mount an assault on the Citadel, a separatist armed base, to get him back. And over probably 5 episodes they go, they free him and they escape, but not without losses. And Evan PL himself dies in the end. It's tragic. It's very sad. It's a very sad arc. What I love so much about this arc is it really shows the brutalness of war and the brutalness of some of these commanders. I mean, the guy, what's his name? It's the guy with the same build as Moralo Eval. I can't remember his name, but the leader of the Citadel, the commander, he's devious. He will do anything to get Evan PL back, and he will do anything to stop the intruders from rescuing him. On top of that, so many characters die. I mean, a ton of clones, and then Evan PL himself don't make it out, which really shows just how much darker the Clone Wars show has gotten since, you know, the ambush days back from season 1. The Citadel is probably S tier. I really like this arc. It's one of my favorites in the entire Clone Wars show. Alright, coming up next is the subscribe button. Boys, only a small percentage of you who are watching this video are actually subscribed. And what's up with that? I know you like these videos. I know you watch them whenever I upload them. And I appreciate you so much for it. But if you do enjoy these videos, it'd really help if you just go down and check to see if you're subscribed. Because a lot of times you're not. Sometimes YouTube will unsubscribe you. And some of you might have just forgotten. Because it's a busy world out there. And we all got stuff going on. And let's throw this subscribe button in I haven't seen. Because you know what? A lot of you guys haven't seen that subscribe button, and that's the reason you haven't clicked it yet. I know if you see it, you would click it. So go and look for it and click it if you see it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it more than you know. Cloak of Darkness. Now this is the one where Ahsoka and Barriss Offee fight Ventress as she tries to go and free what's the name, Newt Gunray from the Venator. This is probably a solid C tier, but it's high C tier. It's fun. It's a good arc. It's fun to watch. It's nice to see Luminara Unduli in action. A consistent trend with Clone Wars arcs is the more unique and cool characters they introduce, especially Jedi like Luminara Unduli, Plo Koon, later on Ayla Secura, Evan PL. The more cool characters that we haven't seen before they introduce, the cooler the arc is, because it's nice to see more Jedi than just the big 4 that we see in every episode. You know, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Yoda, maybe a little Mace Windu. It's cool to see more Jedi than just them. And this does introduce Luminara Unduli as a real character who has a great duel, by the way. The duel in this episode is really fun. So I think it's a solid C tier, top of C tier. It's not phenomenal, but it's not bad at all. Next up is Clovis Returns, and this one, look, I'm gonna be honest, boys, I don't like the Clovis episodes very much. There's like 2 or 3 of these arcs involving Clovis throughout the show, and if you don't know, he's in love with Padme or something, which makes Anakin very mad. I think these arcs are pretty boring. They're very bureaucratic. They rarely have much important stake in the show, except to show that Anakin is an angry guy who is getting closer and closer to the dark side every day. But I don't remember this arc well enough, this individual one, to rank it. I don't really think, unless it comes back to me later, I'm going to throw it in haven't seen for now. Obviously, I have seen it probably 2 or 3 times because I've watched the Clone Wars a bunch of times, but I don't remember this particular arc well enough to be fit to rank it, I think. So I'm going to throw it in haven't seen, and you guys in the comments, let me know. Let me know where you would put Clovis Returns, because I can't remember why. I don't know where I'd put it. All right, boys, I'm gonna try not to be too hurtful to one of my favorite TV shows, but this next arc coming up is genuinely one of my least favorite things I've ever seen in Star Wars. And I've seen The Acolyte, I've seen The Last Jedi, and I still probably would rather watch those more than I'd rather watch D Squad. Basically, D Squad is the most boring arc in the entire show and the least interesting arc in the entire show. I know some of you will disagree. I know some of you droid fans out there will love this arc, and I'm happy for you. You know what? I am glad that you guys enjoy this arc. It truly makes me happy to see that. I do not in any way whatsoever. This arc is basically a bunch of stupid freaking droids getting stranded on a planet where they find a clone and they help him get back to the rebellion or something. One clone, just one random guy, and that is like somehow worthy of 7 or 8 episodes. It is so long, it's not even funny. It's not even funny how long it is. It genuinely makes me mad. I hate it. Okay, it's 4 episodes. It's not 7 or 8. But you know what? The fact that those 4 episodes feel like 7 or 8 episodes shows how bad this arc is. I have to pull myself through it, like Anakin crawling up the stupid rocks on Mustafar to get off the lava area. Like, genuinely, this pisses me off. It feels so long. Yeah, I can't even put this on the same level as Bombad Jedi. I would watch the Bombad Jedi a million times over to prevent myself from watching D Squad even once. I'd rather listen to Taylor Swift than watch this arc. And we'll throw D Squad right in there because that's how I feel. Now listen, out of 130,000 of you guys, who I love to death, by the way, thank you for everything you've done for me, but I know out of 130,000 of you, some of you are bound to be Swifties. Some of you might love Taylor Swift and might think that I'm insinuating that Taylor Swift is bad by comparing her with D Squad and saying I'd rather listen to her. And you'd be right. I mean, I am dogging on Taylor Swift heavily. But take heart, viewers, because there is one Taylor Swift song that I like, and that is called Paper Rings by Taylor Swift. I really like this song. The song's actually fire. So, you know what, Swifties? You and I have something in common. We like paper rings. But no, I don't really like Taylor Swift, and this arc does suck, so that's that. Eth Koth, Rescue / Deserter. I do like this arc a good amount. I like how it continues on into 2 arcs. It starts off with Eth Koth's rescue, which is very fun. Again, because they introduce a new Jedi that we don't see very much, Eth Koth. It's really cool to see a new Jedi, and I believe Adigalia helps Obi-Wan rescue him, so it's another new Jedi. It's Eth Koth and Adigalia. Boom, peanut butter and jelly. It's fun to see new characters. It just is. But no, the first half of this is really fun with rescuing Eth Koth, and it has some cool duels with Grievous before Grievous escapes inevitably. And then the second part of it, where they go down to the planet and they find where Captain Rex finds a deserter, a clone deserter who has interesting, unique motivations for leaving the what's it called? The Republic. I promise I know what the Republic is. I just forgot for a sec. The clone who has understandable reasons for deserting the Republic finds Captain Rex, and together they protect his family by warding off a squad of commando droids. It's very fun. It's a very fun episode, and it really makes you think, which is pretty impressive because this is an earlier season. I believe it's seasons 3 or 4. I can't remember which. I think I'm throwing this one A tier. I like this one a lot. Domino Squad. Domino Squad is where we see, obviously, the Domino Squad. You know all the Domino Squad. Heavy, Echo, Fives. All these wonderful clones whose characters we get to see grow over the course of the Clone Wars and who come back in multi-facets as ARC Troopers, and Echo joins the Bad Batch later. It's wonderful. It's actually awesome. This is their origin, how they overcame their initial obstacles and their problems within the group. Now they always butt heads, can never agree on anything, and we're gonna fail out, but last minute, save the day, clutch the frick up, and prove their worth as clone soldiers of the Republic. I mean, this arc is straight up S tier. I mean, this really does show redemption, and it also sets up these characters that we get to enjoy for the rest of the whole Clone Wars show. If you watched it, then you love it. I know you do. So, I'm throwing that S tier. Dooku captured. Now, boys, you know me. I'm a sucker with a capital S for Count Dooku. I love the guy. The guy is my spirit animal if I had one to be Count Dooku. But this arc, it is alright. It's pretty good. It's unique for sure. I mean, it's nice to see Dooku, Anakin, and Obi-Wan working together. I like that a lot. But the whole arc itself isn't that interesting. It's pretty early on, so it's low stakes. You know no one's going to die or nothing that important's going to happen. It's cool because you think they're going to capture Dooku early on, but you've also watched episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and you know darn well that Dooku's gonna escape and be with the Separatists readily again by episode 3, so even that can't really happen. I think I'd throw this one probably a solid B tier. At the end of B tier, it's nowhere good as Bad Batch or Onderani and Rebels, but end of B tier works well for me. I will say, if Dooku wasn't involved, it'd be C tier, straight up. Duel of the Droids. Now, this is the arc where they lose R2-D2 and they get another droid who's somehow a spy for Grievous, and it just happens to get gifted to Anakin, and it tries to kill Anakin a couple times, but never that hard, and then it ends up with them going back to the lair to find R2-D2 and Grievous and fight Grievous. This arc's alright. I really think it's probably the epitome of a C tier arc. It is one of Grievous's worst arcs in the entire show, I will say that. Out of every Grievous arc, it is probably one of the least interesting and displays Grievous the worst. And also, never on my 38 years on this earth, never in 38 years of living, have I seen Ahsoka be so annoying in an arc. I mean, she is just insufferable. Anakin's clearly like, yeah, this droid is bad news. He's obviously trying to kill me or do something to hurt me. And Ahsoka's like, oh, Sky Guy, you're just being a paranoid, obnoxious. You miss R2. And it's like, no. The droid is genuinely trying to fly Anakin into like hordes of vulture droids and trying to trap him in rooms with bad guys. Like, what do you think is, he activated the Magna Guards. Ahsoka, you are a freaking moron. You are stupid. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, this really just shows how Ahsoka became one of the greatest characters in all of Star Wars. One of my favorite Jedi and favorite characters in the entire saga. And she got to there from the point of being one of my least favorite, most insufferable characters in the original beginning of the Clone Wars show. She was so annoying. I mean, in my 38 years on this earth, have I never seen a more annoying character than in Duel of the Droids. It just pissed me off so much. Oh, frick, boys. I got Spanish class in like 5 minutes. I gotta dip while the getting's good. But I will be back to continue this list shortly. And I'll probably be back with some Chick-fil-A because I am hungry. Hungry like the wolf. So anyway, boys, don't miss me too much. I will be back shortly. Try not to watch too much good Clone Wars without me. And I'll catch you boys on the flippity floppy. See you soon. Think about me every night. Oh, isn't that sweet? I guess so. Just got back from Spanish class. Chick-fil-A in the hand. Isaac walking towards me down the hall. About to go rank Star Wars. Listen to 20 Minutes by Lil Uzi. Life is good right now. Alright, I just paused off the Chick-fil-A. So now it's time to go clean up a little bit, wash the hands, reveal the purple shirt again, and get back to filming Star Wars videos. All right, boys, we are back. We are so back. And it's time now to move on to Five's conspiracy. Now, this is the arc where Fives discovers that there's something more going on to the clones than just their programming. They have a chip in their brain that programs them and forces them to kill Jedi. And he goes on this whole expedition and he finds out the truth and he even confronts Palpatine himself. But then he tragically dies. And real ones cried when Fives died. Not me, because I'm not a real one, obviously. But real ones cried, sobbed when Fives died. Now, if you look at the tier list so far, there's not a whole lot of S tier boys. There's only S tier, 2 S tiers, and 1 the best Star Wars we've ever gotten, basically. And I'm seriously I'm seriously considering putting Five's conspiracy in the best Star Wars we've ever gotten. But I do, at the end of the day, prefer Ahsoka framed. I'm gonna put it in S tier. It is still phenomenal Star Wars. It is some of the most interesting plot we have gotten. It reveals so much about the Star Wars universe and the Republic as a whole. It really sheds light on how Order 66 could have happened the way it did happen. And it really helps explain later on why Rex is able to remove the chip from his brain. Overall, it is phenomenal. I mean, there's no other way to put it, boys. If you've watched Five's Conspiracy, you love it. You feel bad for Fives, and you wish all the clones could have had the same fate that Rex did, where he's able to remove it and not be afflicted with the compulsion to kill his friends. So anyway, boys, long story short, that's S tier. Geonosis / Brain Invaders. This is another two-parter where it's first the invasion of Geonosia following Attack of the Clones, you know, when they escape the arena and all that, and start the Clone Wars there. And it goes on to the Brain Invaders, where they have the worms that go inside people's brains and control them and turn them into zombies that listen to the Queen. This arc is good. Again, we see Ki-Adi-Mundi in this picture right here. That's because Ki-Adi-Mundi is a character in this, and it's always fun to see a new Jedi. Again, I keep saying this, it's always fun. So that's instantly some brownie points, instantly a little sprinkle on top. I do like the last part of Brain Invaders when they're on the ship off of Geonosia and the worm starts invading and takes over Barriss and all the clones and Ahsoka has to fight them off alone. That is the best part of the entire arc in my opinion. I like that part a lot. But the rest of it, oh sorry, let's watch Chick-fil-A. But the rest of the arc is simply, I think B tier. I mean, it's not a phenomenal arc, but it's pretty decent. I like it a good amount. I'm gonna put it B tier. Next up is Holocron Heist, which is a Cad Bane arc, and I love Cad Bane, boys. You know me. I'm a sucker for a good bounty hunter like Cad Bane. If we're including the last half of this arc, where what's it called, when he captures Ahsoka and blows up the ship and makes his escape, I think it'd be probably B tier too. I like this arc. Oh no, you want honestly? Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at B. I think that's pretty fair of me. Next up is Jedi Crash, when Anakin, Ahsoka, and Aayla Secura crash onto some random planet and have to help some lemurs out from a firebomb thing. I think this is a solid B tier. Again, we have Aayla Secura, a new Jedi who we don't know very much about, and I love seeing a new Jedi, so that instantly gets some brownie points for me. Yeah, I think Jedi Crash is a solid B tier. It's not phenomenal, it's not super unique or special, but it's interesting. Layer of Grievous. This is an A tier off the bat. If you've ever seen this arc, you know how cool it is. You know this one actually has stakes. Nadar dies in it because he's a freaking moron. Bro, imagine you're a Jedi Knight and you became a Padawan like a week ago, and you think that you yourself are gonna take on General Grievous, the guy who has killed hundreds of Jedi by himself. You think that you're gonna do that? That is called being a freaking delusional moron, and that's exactly what Nadar is. Nadar deserved to die for just being so stupid, just so arrogant. But the whole arc is great when they have to navigate through Grievous's lair, and Grievous is getting fixed the whole time and is constantly taunting them, and Kit Fisto fights him in the end with 2 lightsabers. It's all great. I really like the Lair of Grievous. If you've ever seen it, you just know it's a good arc. It's one of the most classic ones in the entire show. I'm putting it A tier. Lethal Trackdown. So this is when Ahsoka and Plo Koon found Aurra Sing and Boba Fett and tried to kill them, or tried to capture them at the very least. I remember this now because earlier when I ranked Boba Fett's Revenge, I lumped this in, and this Lethal Trackdown arc is the reason I put Boba Fett's Revenge so high, because I thought they were the same arc. If they're not the same arc, I'm moving Boba Fett's Revenge down to a C, and I'm moving Lethal Trackdown up to the B tier. I like this one a lot. I think Lethal Trackdown is good. And again, I love seeing a new Jedi, and Plo Koon's in it. It's great. I love Lethal Trackdown. Lightsaber Lost. Now, this is a pretty short arc. I think it may only be like 1 or 2 episodes, but this is honestly one of the cooler ones in the show, just because of how unique it is. It's not dealing with global threats or planetary threats. It's not even dealing with the Separatists. It's dealing with a random lightsaber thief who takes Ahsoka's lightsaber. And Ahsoka has to listen to a wiser, older mentor, Terry Sinube, and figure out the best way to use her wits and be slow, and the best way to get her lightsaber back. This episode's a great lesson on the value of patience and the wisdom that comes with age, and overall there's a lot of great lessons in here. It grows Ahsoka's character, it introduces a new Jedi, Terry Sinube, which, hey, you love to see a new Jedi, boys, so round of applause for good old Terry Sinube. Hands up in the air, yes Terry, woo! You know what, I'll do this. If it's 1 episode, which it very well might be, I'll put it A tier. If not, I'll put it B tier. How long is the lightsaber lost arc in Clone Wars? It is 1 episode, 25 minutes. So in that case, boys, I really do have to put it, let's go. I do have to put it in A tier. The Malevolence. This is one of the earlier arcs in the Clone Wars. I remember this was probably season 1 or 2, and I do remember playing LEGO Star Wars 3, the Clone Wars, that level of this, that episode of this level. I play this level in LEGO Star Wars 3 is what I'm trying to say. My favorite part of the entire arc is when the Malevolence is used on the Venator, and it hits Plo Koon and his clone troops, and they have to figure out how to get out of it and how to escape it, and how to survive too, because the droids are hunting for them. So I think the Malevolence, I'll put it B tier. I like this one. I think it's fun. I think it's a good episode, good arc. Mandalore corruption. So this is when Sabine and her nephew and his friends discover the corruption is happening and that Death Watch still exists on Mandalore. Out of all the Mandalorian arcs, it is the worst. It is the least interesting by far, but that still means it's good. Like, the Mandalorian arcs are the best arcs in all of Clone Wars, and this being the worst of the best arcs is a good thing. That's a W. We take that. Probably B tier. It's not A tier, but it's not that bad. It's not C tier. No, you know what? It honestly probably is C tier. Nothing really happens. All it does is set up the basis for Mandalore plot and Obi-Wan coming there, and then eventually the Siege of Mandalore. It's a lot of background information. It doesn't really do that much, but it's fine. I'm putting it C. The Martez sisters. Now, boys, I want you to picture something for me. I want you to put a little scenario in your head. Imagine there's a character who left the Jedi Order in season 5 and has not returned since. You don't know where she is, what happened to her, and to top it all off, she's a fan favorite character. She's one of the best characters in the show. Everyone wants to see her. Imagine you do a new season, and in the season you promise to explain where Ahsoka's been. And in that new season, the explanation you give is that she's off running around in bumfrick nowhere trying to fight random mob bosses with 2 random people you've never heard of or met before and don't care about at all. That is the Martez sisters. Possibly the least satisfying explanation for what Ahsoka's been doing for the last, year or 2 in all of Clone Wars. Genuinely. Maul conquers Mandalore. Now this, one of the reasons I love this arc so much is because Maul gets found by Death Watch, and then 48 hours later is the literal king of Mandalore. Like, he went from 0 to hero, literally in 48 hours. That is so impressive. That is crazy. And because of that, I think I'm going to throw this bad boy. I think I'm going to put it A tier just because there are better Mandalore arcs coming up. Maul's resurrection. Now this is when Maul, gets found by Savage Opress, loses his spider legs and gets the robot legs, and then goes and absolutely decimates random towns trying to get the Jedi's attention. Obi-Wan finds him and he goes and captures Obi-Wan, and then Ventress comes and saves Obi-Wan, and then they escape, and Darth Maul and Savage go start their crime empire until eventually they're found by Mandalorians. Now that is Maul's resurrection, essentially what happens, and this is a great arc. This is really fun, it's really cool, and it's really cool to see Obi-Wan reunited with his old foe, along with getting a good explanation for how Darth Maul came back. I mean, take notes, J.J. Abrams. This is how you bring back a villain who was previously thought to be dead. And it's pretty simple. It's not that hard. You just need a little exposition, and it works great. I promise you, you could have done it with Palpatine. You really could have. I think this whole thing's A tier. I think they really could have botched this whole thing. They could have made it unconvincing and just feel like a cash grab and feel like they're bringing back some random character for the sake of bringing him back. But he really felt like he had a purpose here, and he really felt like he worked in the Clone Wars universe and fit into this whole sphere pretty well. I think they could have botched that so badly, and the fact that they didn't is worthy of an A tier to me. Plus, the arc's just freaking fun to watch. It's just cool to see Darth Maul come back, let's be honest. The Battle of Mon Calamari. This whole arc is cool because of the fact that it's set underwater, and we get to see, Kit Fisto in action. Love to see a new Jedi in action. But other than that, it's not that special. It is cool it's underwater, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't. The novelty kind of wears off pretty quick. I think this is a solid C tier. I think I kind of associate the Battle of Mon Calamari with Cloak of Darkness. I feel like these two are kind of very similar in nature, and I don't know why exactly. I just feel like they are. I don't know. The Mortis arc. I think Mortis is an interesting arc. I think it's interesting because it gives us a broader view of the Force and how it's interpreted in the galaxy as a whole. I think it's cool to see the representation of the brother and sister and the father. It's very interesting. Definitely some religious themes tied in there from, Christianity, maybe Islam, maybe Buddhism. Definitely. I mean, it is the Force. The Force is a mystical energy field. That is Buddhism at its core. I think this Mortis arc is a solid A tier. I think it's really good. I greatly enjoy the Mortis arc. I think the older I've gotten too, the more interesting it's gotten. Like Obi-Wan seeing Qui-Gon, all these random events that, I don't know, I just appreciate more than I did when I was, 11 watching this. I think at 38, it makes way more sense to me. So the Night Sister Massacre. So back in the day, we used to have a DVD of the Clone Wars that we used to watch on car rides, my sisters and I. and we only had a DVD of a third or a half of season 5, and this Night Sisters Massacre episode was in that DVD. So I've seen this episode easily probably 10, 15 maybe times. I've seen it so many times, and it's really good. It's good fun. It's really interesting. It's cool to see the Night Sisters brought in, and it's cool to see Dooku's attack on them in order to get to Ventress, and it's cool to see Grievous absolutely massacre them. The whole battle is phenomenal. It doesn't really have long-lasting consequences, except that Ventress has to go off on her own, so it's not super impactful to the actual universe as a whole. I think it's a solid B tier though. I really like this episode, and the Grievous Ventress duel is one of the more interesting duels in all of Star Wars. I love it. Night Sisters. Now this is the arc where Ventress decides she needs an apprentice to go kill Count Dooku with, so she goes and takes Savage Opress, tests him, makes sure he's worthy, jacks him up on all the steroids he can find. I mean, this guy was shooting Tren for like 2 seconds and he became bigger than anyone I'll ever know. And then she sends him in undercover to go work with Dooku, and then they go and try to kill Dooku together, and Savage is like, you know what, screw this. He attacks both of them and gets out of there. I like this episode a lot. I don't like Savage Opress. This is some of the only growth as a character he has in the entire show. Literally, as soon as this arc ends, he goes and finds Darth Maul, and then he becomes Darth Maul 2.0. He just becomes a big guy with a lightsaber who's a little less interesting than Darth Maul, and who never gets another drop of character development. I put it on the same level as Night Sisters Massacre, probably. I think these are both solid B tier episodes, and they're pretty similar. They're kind of tied at the hip, so. Nomad droids. Boys, I hate droid episodes. I mean, even the good droids like C-3PO and R2-D2, there was just no universe where I wouldn't rather be watching the Jedi do something fun and something cool and something awesome in another episode. I never would choose to watch droid arcs, but I'm genuinely going to put this, and I'd rather listen to Taylor Swift. I just don't find them enjoyable at all. I really find no entertainment in them, almost in any way whatsoever. Obi-Wan Undercover. Now the thing where I've seen the Night Sisters Massacre a bunch of times, because I had the DVD of it, is the exact same with Obi-Wan Undercover. I had the DVD, and this was on the DVD, so I've watched this arc also probably, you know, a dozen times in my life, and I love it. I think it's so interesting, it's really creative, and the best episode of this arc is the box. The box is so cool, it's just a cool test, and it's really cool to see how Obi-Wan's training is prepared him for this, and it's cool to see the other bounty hunters in their element, and the nature of bounty hunters in general, and then of course the plot on Naboo, on the Chancellor's life, when they try to capture the Chancellor and Anakin stops them, not knowing it's Obi-Wan. It's all great. I really love this arc. Truly, I think it's phenomenal. I'm putting an S tier. I think I really like it. I think it's so cool. Especially when, and also I forgot, when Obi-Wan goes into prison, when he goes into the prison system and he gets Cad Bane and earns his trust there, and Moralo Eval. I love that. I love it so much. Pursuit of Peace. I'm gonna level with you guys. I don't remember anything about Pursuit of Peace. I mean, I'm sure I've watched it a bunch of times, but I'm gonna put it next to Clovis Returns because I just cannot recall any of the plot points about it. Rescuing Rada the Hutt. I'm putting that F tier. I do not like Rada the Hutt at all. Leave me with garbage. Anyway, I don't like Rada the Hutt. I'm putting that F tier. I think it's boring. I think the Clone Wars movie in general is trash. Liberation on Ryloth is pretty good. It's a pretty basic Clone Wars Liberation arc, but it does show the compassion of clone troopers. When they find Numa, I think, the little Twilight girl, when they find her, Waxer and Boyle, that's their names. When they find her and take care of her for the entire arc, and they go with her and they use her help, and they liberate Ryloth, mostly because of her help and guidance. I love it. I think it's so good. I think it's similar to Batman. It's like the old saying where if you can't picture your version of Batman comforting a child, then you've just drawn Punisher with a Batman mask. Like it is the same with clones. Like these clones are not just killing machines. They are humans. They have empathy and they can relate to these people, and they know what they're doing to their lives. They know that these people are in war-torn areas and they need help and compassion. So I think it's awesome. I think Liberation on Ryloth is really good. I'm putting that A tier. I like it a lot. The Senate Murders. The Senate Murders, I'm gonna throw up there in C tier. I mean, they're interesting, but there's nothing special about them. I don't even think they use the Jedi involvement that much. It's more trying to figure out internal politics. It's not bad, but I'm just not a huge fan. It's all right. It's fine. Same thing with Senate Spy. I mean, look, there's Clovis there, and I think this Clovis betrays the Republic in some sense. I actually don't remember this one well enough. I'm also gonna put this next to Clovis Returns because I don't remember the plot of this arc almost at all. I've watched it a couple times, I'm sure, but I just don't know it. So I'm gonna throw that in haven't seen. The Siege of Mandalore / Order 66. This whole arc, you'll forgive me for putting this here, boys, but this is the best Star Wars we've ever gotten, basically. I love the Siege of Mandalore and its, you know, transition into Order 66. When they go and they capture Maul, and at the same time, all the Anakin stuff is happening where he's killing Count Dooku, and then eventually he kills Mace Windu and becomes Darth Vader, and the clones hit Order 66, and then Darth Maul knows all this, and he's telling Ahsoka, but she doesn't believe him, and then she has to save Rex and get off the ship and leave all the clones behind. It's tragic, it's sad, it's moving. It adds to Order 66 in ways that the movies never did. It really humanizes the clones and their struggle through this. I love it. I mean, everyone loves it. The Siege of Mandalore into Order 66 is just phenomenal. Sphere of Influence, I do not remember this one well enough to really rank it. I am gonna put it in haven't seen. I think that's pretty fair, and I just don't know it well enough to properly give an analysis of it. So The Disappeared. Now, this is the arc when Mace Windu goes and he goes and tracks down some people, some missing people. There's like a cult thing, and it's somehow linked back to Mother Talzin. And for some reason, he brings Jar Jar Binks with him. I genuinely don't know why. What a stupid thing to do. Why would you ever bring Jar Jar Binks with you? You're asking to get disappointed, but he does it for some reason. I don't remember this arc super well, but I remember it better than the haven't seen arcs. I'm gonna put this one, I'll put it in B tier. I remember being interested in it. Plus, honestly, I'm very biased by the duel with Mother Talzin and Mace Windu, because when she pulls out the dark saber, it comes out, the dark sword, and it comes out like this, and it's the green magic, and she duels Mace Windu with it. That is absolutely sick. But you know what I forgot? Jar Jar Binks is in it. Trespass. Now, this is the episode when they go to the snow planet that's not hot to take care of these tribal guys. I know this is the symbolism and Star Wars' takes on, you know, imperialism and American intervention in the Middle East. I think it, you know, obviously it misrepresents it a little bit, but it's also trying to simplify it down in a lot of ways. I think this is probably a C tier arc. It's interesting. It's pretty good. It's not bad at all, but it's just, I think it's solid C tier. The Battle of Umbra. This is the easiest S tier on this list, or at least one of them. The Battle of Umbra is phenomenal. Pong Krell and his battle against the clones, and the clones really taking up their own arms and becoming one of their own, is such a great thing to watch. Like the progression from, you know, the clones are just dropping along till eventually Pong Krell has them killing each other in battle, and then they discover that it was him all along. He tries to escape, but they capture him, and then they execute him for what he's done to them. The whole arc is awesome. The Battle of Umbra is S tier easily. The Mystery of Sifo Dyas, Yoda's Journey. Now, this is a little bit more of a spiritual Clone Wars episode for at least half of it. The Mystery of Sifo Dyas is when Obi-Wan and Yoda, or Obi-Wan and Count Dooku, I'm tripping out here. Obi-Wan and Anakin go to that random planet with the pyramid-headed crime boss guys, and they discover the last guy who knows that Sifo Dyas didn't die by accident, and then they fight Count Dooku to keep the secret, and they learn that Count Dooku is Darth Tyrannus. This whole saga is a B tier, I think. It's solid. It's not super memorable, but it's alright. I like it. Younglings. Younglings is an S tier arc. I love the Younglings arc. First, when you have to go build their crystal, it really highlights the power of individuality and how everyone has their own skills and assets that they need to learn to utilize, and people need to realize their weaknesses and come to reason with those. And on top of that, when they get stranded and captured by Hondo, their ingenuity there is like awesome. It's really cool, inspiring. It's just a great take on what it means to be a Jedi Youngling. And it's so, I don't know. I hate to say moving, but it's like, it really is such phenomenal Star Wars. It truly is awesome. It's like that Yoda saying from Empire Strikes Back, episode 5. It's luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. And in this episode, out of almost all the episodes in the Clone Wars, highlights that more than any of them. Like, we're all, these younglings and us as human beings, we're all luminous beings of worth and value. And I think that's one of the most valuable messages out of this. And then, of course, it ends cool when they're trying to escape from Hondo and Naka. So it's a double-edged sword. It's really cool, and it's inspiring, and it's deep, and it's just a great episode. Great arc. I love it. Younglings, phenomenal. Getting to the final three, we have the Zillo Beast. Now, this arc is decent. I think it's cooler after they capture it on Malachor. It's cooler when they bring it back to Coruscant and it breaks out there. It shows the greediness of the, I mean, this is like a really tying it back to real world, but the greediness of the military-industrial complex, where instead of letting this beast be, they decide they need to go kill it and study it and torture it and whatnot, just so they can make better armor. I'm putting Zillo Beast, and it's also, come on guys, it's a big freaking animal. It's a huge animal rampaging. That's freaking sick. That's really cool, and that's pretty unique for the Clone Wars. They don't do a lot of huge animal rages, so I'm throwing Zillo Beast. I'm putting that A tier. I really like Zillo Beast. Zero's Escape. Zero's Escape, I don't care about that much. The only good part, or really interesting part in my mind, is when they find out that Cad Bane is behind it, or sorry, Sai Noodles is behind it, and that leads to Zero's death, And Cad Bane fights Quinlan Vos and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because, come on, boys. Quinlan Vos, new character, new Jedi, sprinkle on brownie points instantly. That's way cooler. And then when they fight Cad Bane, he uses his weapons, his rocket packs, all the works. Gets a lightsaber at one point. That's a really cool duel. But the rest of the episode is pretty, like, alright. It's not bad, but I'm putting that in C tier. What you may be noticing is that all of these C tiers right here are pretty decent. They're not as good as the stuff up here, but they're all decent, and that just goes to show how good the Clone Wars is as a show. Like, these are the only Clone Wars arcs I would really call bad. All of these I really like. Like, I think these are all good, and it comes down to how good and what's better than what. But these are all fire arcs and fire, series to watch in the Clone Wars. This is why the Clone Wars is so popular, so phenomenal of a Star Wars TV show, and genuinely one of the best Star Wars products we've ever gotten, ever. Finally, last but not least, we have Zygerian Slavers, and I really like this arc, boys. I know it's not as popular per se, but to me it's always stood out as one of the more interesting arcs, Star Wars' take on slavery, and I'm moving this one to S tier. I think it's phenomenal. But boys, if you like this video, I know you're gonna love this one, where I ranked every Clone Wars villain. I think you're gonna really like it. I'm very proud of it. I spent a lot of time on it, so check that one out right now. Go click on this right here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a good day. See you later. Bye. Catch you on later. Bye. Have a good one.